I used to think I had it all figured out. The job, the house, the car, hell, even the girlfriend. I mean, that's what you're supposed to want, right? Money, status, security. Get all those things, and you're set. At least, that's what I thought. But lately, I've started wondering if any of it really means anything. I'd always worked hard, made sure I had the right career path, the right image. But as I sit here, looking at the numbers on my screen, I feel empty. Like I'm stuck in some loop. Another promotion, another paycheck. Nothing ever really changes. It's like I'm chasing something that keeps slipping away. Then there's Claire. She's different. So full of life, full of ideas. She's not stuck in the same routine like I am. She has this dream, this cafe she wants to open. Every time she talks about it, her eyes light up. I can see it in her, this drive to do something real, something that means something to her. I want to support her. I really do. But what if it's too much? What if she fails? What if it all falls apart? I don't even know how to begin supporting something like that. Hell, I can barely support my own career right now. I can't shake the feeling that maybe she's too big for me. What if she needs something more than I can give her? What if her dreams are too big, too far out of reach for someone like me? I keep telling myself I'm just being paranoid, that I should be happy for her, that I should back her up. But every time she talks about this cafe, I feel like I'm being left behind. What if she moves on without me? What if she doesn't need me anymore? I guess that's the part that scares me the most. Not the cafe, not the risk, but the idea that I'm not enough. What if she outgrows me? What if I end up just another footnote in her story? I don't even know if I'm ready to let go of everything I've worked for. I've spent so long building this life, this image. I've done it all for stability, for security. But maybe security's not enough anymore. Maybe what she wants is something I can't give her. I've heard Claire talk about her cafe idea 1,000 times now. At first, it was just a passing thought, something she mentioned when we were having coffee or watching a movie. But lately it's different. She's all in. She talks about it like it's already happening, like it's just a matter of time before she makes it real. And every time she talks about it, I feel like I'm just sitting on the sidelines. I want to be excited for her, I do. But I can't help but wonder, what if it's all just a pipe dream? She's talking about all this planning, getting investors, finding the perfect location. But she doesn't seem to get how risky it is. What if it doesn't work out? What if she loses everything? I keep telling myself, it's her dream, let her chase it. But deep down, I'm scared. Scared of what it might mean for us. Because what if she's right? What if her dream takes off and she doesn't need me anymore? What if she finds someone who's more in line with her vision, someone who can keep up? She's so sure of herself. And here I am, questioning every step I've taken. My job's stable, but it's just a job. It doesn't light me up the way her cafe idea lights her up. I can't help but feel a little resentful. Not of her. I'd never blame her for chasing her dreams, but resentful of myself. I want to support her, but I don't even know how to support something that big. I can't help but wonder if I'm the one holding her back. I mean, what if I can't give her the life she's imagining? What if I'm just not enough to keep up with her ambitions? Maybe she needs someone who can build with her, someone who has that same fire in their belly. The more she talks about it, the more I start to feel like I'm fading into the background. I never wanted to be that guy, the one who gets left behind. But what if I am? What if I've been living in this bubble, pretending that money and stability are all that matter, when she's out there dreaming bigger than I ever have? I don't know where this is headed, but I can feel the distance growing between us. Not in the way we talk or act, it's there. Under the surface. It's in the way I look at her, wondering if I'm enough. It's in the way she looks at me, hoping I'll understand, but I don't know if I can. I can't stop thinking about it. Every conversation, every moment where Claire talks about her cafe, I feel this pit in my stomach. The more she talks about it, the more I feel like I'm not enough. Not enough for her, not enough to support her through something like this. She's so sure, so full of life and purpose, and I just feel lost. I've worked hard, I've climbed the corporate ladder, but lately it's starting to feel like none of it matters. The job is stable, yeah, but it's not fulfilling. It's not my dream. It's just a job. It's just a paycheck. And every time Claire gets more excited about her plans, it's like I'm standing on the sidelines, watching her move towards something bigger while I'm stuck in the same place. The worst part? I start thinking, maybe she deserves someone who can keep up. Someone who gets the big picture, who isn't afraid to take risks. Someone who believes in their own potential the way she believes in hers. I want to be that guy. I do. But I'm not. I try to push the thoughts away, tell myself I'm overthinking it, but they won't go away. What if she does need someone better? Someone who has the courage to jump into the unknown, someone who's not afraid to bet on themselves. I keep telling myself that maybe I'm just scared of losing her, but deep down, I know there's more to it. I'm scared I'm not good enough for her, plain and simple. I don't even know if I believe in myself anymore. It's like I've built this life around this idea of success, of stability, but now it feels hollow. What if I'm too old to change, too deep into this routine to become the person I need to be? What if I'm not the kind of man who can give her what she really needs? I've spent so many years building this image of who I'm supposed to be. I've sacrificed time, energy, relationships, all to make sure I didn't fall behind. But now, I'm looking at Claire, her excitement, her confidence, and I wonder if I've spent all these years chasing the wrong things. What if she's right? What if stability and security aren't enough? What if she needs more than I can give? And what if I can't change fast enough to be the man she needs? I'm starting to think that maybe I'm already too far gone. Maybe she's outgrown me without me even realizing it. I knew it was coming. I could feel it in the way she looked at me, the way she talked about her plans. The more she pushed forward with this cafe idea, the more I felt myself pulling away, not because I didn't love her, God, I loved her, but because I wasn't sure if I could be the person she needed anymore. We sat down one night, just the two of us, and I could see it in her eyes. She was ready. She was all in, and I wasn't. I wasn't even close. I wanted to support her, I did, but I couldn't help feeling that my own fears were holding her back. And I realized something that hit me harder than anything. I wasn't just holding her back, I was holding myself back. It's not that I didn't believe in her. I did. More than anything. But I couldn't shake the feeling that if we kept going the way we were, something was going to break. Either I was going to resent her for pushing ahead with her dream while I stayed stuck, or I was going to suffocate her, trying to control everything, make everything safe, make everything secure. But life doesn't work that way. Not anymore. Not with her. I don't know how the words came out, but they did. Maybe it's time for us to let go, I said. It was like I was saying it to myself as much as to her. I couldn't keep pretending that I was enough, that I could make it work. I didn't want to be the one who held her back. I didn't want to be the reason she didn't chase her dream, the one thing I knew she wanted more than anything. Her face, her eyes. I'll never forget the look of confusion, of hurt. She didn't see this coming, and for a second, I didn't either. But I had to face it. Sometimes, love means letting go. Sometimes, you have to let the person you love go after what they need, even if it means you're not in that picture anymore. I don't want to hold you back, I said, my voice cracking. I want you to go after your dream, Claire. I just don't think I'm the right person to help you get there. Not anymore. She didn't say anything for a long time. The silence between us was deafening. But when she finally spoke, I could hear the sadness in her voice, and it broke me. I don't want to lose you, James. But if you're not with me in this, then I don't know how to move forward. I wanted to take it back, wanted to say that I'd change, that I could support her, that I could become the person she needed. But I couldn't. Because I knew the truth. She wasn't the one who needed to change. I was. And I couldn't change fast enough to be the partner she deserved. So we let go. I didn't want to, but I knew it was the right thing. For both of us. The days after we broke up felt like a blur. I wasn't sure what to do with myself. I kept waking up to the same empty space beside me, and for the first few days, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Claire wasn't there anymore. I could still hear her laugh echoing through the house, still picture her in the kitchen making breakfast, her excitement spilling over every time she talked about her cafe. But now, there was just silence. I spent the first few weeks throwing myself into work, like I always did. It helped, to some extent. I buried myself in spreadsheets and meetings, telling myself that if I just stayed busy enough, I wouldn't have to think about the hole that had opened up inside me. But it didn't work. Not really. I couldn't stop thinking about her, about what I'd done. I kept asking myself if I'd made the right choice. Maybe I'd acted too soon, maybe I should have tried harder to change, to be the partner she needed. But then I'd remember that night. The way she looked at me, the hurt in her eyes when I said I couldn't be the person she needed. And I knew deep down I was doing the right thing. But that didn't make it hurt any less. I couldn't just ignore the fact that she was out there, building something for herself, chasing her dreams. I'd always admired her drive, her ability to go after what she wanted, but now it was like a punch to the gut every time I thought about it. She was out there, doing something that lit her up, and I was still sitting here, in the same spot, trying to make sense of everything. The days after we broke up felt like a blur. I wasn't sure what to do with myself. I kept waking up to the same empty space beside me, and for the first few days, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Claire wasn't there anymore. I could still hear her laugh echoing through the house, still picture her in the kitchen making breakfast, her excitement spilling over every time she talked about her cafe. But now, there was just silence. I spent the first few weeks throwing myself into work, like I always did. It helped, to some extent. I buried myself in spreadsheets and meetings, telling myself that if I just stayed busy enough, I wouldn't have to think about the hole that had opened up inside me. But it didn't work. Not really. I couldn't stop thinking about her, about what I'd done. I kept asking myself if I'd made the right choice. Maybe I'd acted too soon, maybe I should have tried harder to change, to be the partner she needed. But then I'd remember that night. The way she looked at me, the hurt in her eyes when I said I couldn't be the person she needed. And I knew deep down I was doing the right thing. But that didn't make it hurt any less. I couldn't just ignore the fact that she was out there, building something for herself, chasing her dreams. I'd always admired her drive, her ability to go after what she wanted, but now it was like a punch to the gut every time I thought about it. She was out there, doing something that lit her up, and I was still sitting here, in the same spot, trying to make sense of everything. The loneliness was the worst part. It wasn't just that Claire was gone, it was that I had no idea who I was without her. For so long, I'd defined myself by my job, my security, the life we'd built together. But now I was just adrift. I couldn't even remember what my own dreams were. Somewhere along the way, I'd forgotten what it meant to really want something for myself, something outside of just making it through another day. But slowly, things started to shift. I began to see that I had to rebuild my own sense of self. I couldn't keep living in the shadow of my old life, of my old identity. I had to get out of my own way, stop holding on to this image of myself that didn't even fit anymore. Maybe I'd never be the kind of person Claire needed, but I could still be the kind of person I wanted to be. I started doing things I hadn't in years, taking up old hobbies I'd put aside, reading books that inspired me, even taking weekend trips to places I'd always wanted to see. I didn't have all the answers yet, but I was starting to understand that maybe the most important thing wasn't about being perfect or having everything figured out. Maybe it was just about being open to change, even if it meant taking a few steps back before I could move forward. And even though I missed Claire, God, I missed her, I started to realize that this was the first time in a long while that I was doing something for me. It's funny how life can shake you up when you least expect it. After the breakup, I spent months thinking I was broken, that I'd never be able to move on, that I'd never be enough for anyone again. But the more I lived through those months, the more I realized something. I wasn't broken. I was just different. And maybe different was exactly what I needed to be. I had to let go of all the ideas I had about who I was supposed to be, all the expectations I'd built around my job, my image, and my relationship with Claire. Those things, they didn't define me. And somewhere along the way, I'd gotten lost in the idea of success, of being the guy who had it all figured out. But what I was really missing was the ability to just live. To make mistakes, to be unsure, to take risks. That's what I'd lost along the way. Over time, I started to do the things that made me feel alive. Things I hadn't done in years, things I didn't even know I still cared about. I picked up painting again, something I used to do as a kid. It didn't matter if I was good at it or not. It felt good. I started cooking more, experimenting with new recipes. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was doing something just for me, not for anyone else, not to meet some expectation, but because it made me happy. It was a slow process, but I could feel the change in myself. I didn't need to be perfect anymore. I didn't need to fit into the mold I'd created for myself. And that felt freeing. I wasn't chasing after the next promotion or the next paycheck anymore. I wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. I was just living. The more I focused on myself, the more I started to realize that my own dreams, my real dreams, had been buried under all that pressure to succeed. I'd always told myself that my career was everything, that it was the key to happiness. But now, I was questioning that belief. Maybe happiness wasn't about the big promotions or the fancy house. Maybe it was about finding something that made you feel alive. That gave you purpose beyond just making money or playing it safe. I still missed Claire. I didn't know if I'd ever get over her, but I started to accept that the person I had become, the man I was now, was someone who was worthy of love, not because of his success, but because of his willingness to grow, to make mistakes, to be imperfect. And I think, in some strange way, that's exactly what she was looking for all along. Someone who could take risks. Someone who could follow his own path, even if it wasn't easy. But I also knew that she had to walk her own path. Maybe our paths didn't line up anymore, but I could be okay with that. Because I was finally starting to believe that I was enough. Even without her. The more time passed, the clearer it became to me that the decision to let Claire go, as painful as it was probably the best thing for both of us. At first, I couldn't see it that way. It felt like I was giving up on everything we built. It felt like I was throwing away my future with her. But now, after months of self-reflection, I see it differently. In a strange way, letting go gave us both the space to become who we were truly meant to be. I used to think that love meant holding on, that you had to stay together through everything, no matter what. But what I've learned is that sometimes, love means letting go. Sometimes, love means stepping aside so that the person you care about can grow, can follow their dreams, and live the life they've always imagined, even if that life doesn't include you. I couldn't give Claire what she needed. And as hard as it was to admit that, it was also the most freeing realization I've had in a long time. I'd spent so many years trying to force myself into this mold of the perfect partner, the perfect man, that I had forgotten what it meant to just be. To just be myself. To find my own dreams, not just live through hers. Claire deserved someone who could walk beside her in her journey. But I had to be honest with myself. I wasn't that person. Not yet anyway. Maybe not ever. And maybe that's okay. I look back now, and I don't feel regret. I just feel gratitude. Gratitude that I could let her go to chase her dreams. And gratitude that I had the courage to finally step back and give myself the chance to discover mine. Sometimes, it takes losing something to realize what you really need. And for the first time in years, I feel like I'm on the right path. Not because I've figured everything out, but because I've stopped pretending I know all the answers. Claire and I had something real, something beautiful. But we weren't the same people anymore. She was on her path, chasing her dream, and I was starting to realize that I had my own path to follow. Maybe it wouldn't lead to the life I imagined with her, but that was okay. Maybe it was time for both of us to find happiness separately. I can't say that I'll never look back or that I won't miss her, because I do. But I understand now that love doesn't mean staying with someone out of fear of losing them. It means respecting their journey, even if it leads them away from you. And it means respecting your own journey, even when it's uncertain. Looking back, I never imagined I'd be where I am now, feeling at peace after everything. Months ago, I thought losing Claire meant losing myself. But healing isn't a straight line. It's about growth, and sometimes growth means being uncomfortable, facing your fears, and letting go. Now, I see how much I've changed. I've stopped trying to fit into a mold, stopped chasing an idea of success that never really made me happy. I'm living for myself now, taking risks, exploring what excites me, and learning that true happiness comes from within, not from external expectations. When it comes to love, I've learned that it's not about holding on tight or making someone fit into your life. It's about supporting each other's dreams, even if it means parting ways. Love isn't about controlling the future, it's about embracing the unknown and trusting that things will unfold as they should. Maybe I'll find love again. Maybe not. But I know now that the most important thing is learning to love myself first. And I'm finally okay with that. I never expected that breaking up with Claire would lead me to the best version of myself. At first, I thought it was the end of everything, the end of our future together, the end of my hopes. But now, looking back, I see that it was just the beginning. Not just of healing, but of living. I've realized that love isn't about holding on for dear life or trying to make someone fit into your life. It's about growth. It's about being honest with yourself and your partner, and knowing when to let go. Sometimes, love means giving someone the space to chase their dreams, even if that means parting ways. I've learned that to truly love, I first have to love myself. I've spent so many years trying to be the perfect partner, trying to build a perfect life, but now I understand that real love comes when you're honest with yourself about who you are and what you want. It's not about perfection, it's about authenticity. And the best part? I'm excited about the future again. I don't have all the answers, and I don't know what tomorrow holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm living for me. And I think that's the only way to be truly ready for love, whenever it comes again.